Imagine being a billionaire, but feeling like half a man. This is the story of a handsome billionaire who had everything: money, power, respect. But he had one problem that kept him alone for years. He could not satisfy women in bed. His body would not respond no matter what he did. Every woman he dated left him. And the woman who changed his life, she was the one person who didn't care about his wealth. What happened between them will shock you. His name was Isaac. He was 38 years old, tall, handsome, rich beyond measure. He owned hotels, companies, and properties across Nigeria. When he walked into a room, people noticed. Women stared, men envied, but Isaac never smiled back. Not anymore. He lived in a mansion in Lekki, the kind with tall gates, security everywhere, and rooms so big you could get lost. His mother, Mrs. Sophia, lived with him. She was a kind woman, but lately her face always carried worry. She watched her son walk through the house like a ghost. He ate alone, he worked alone, he slept alone. One evening, she sat across from him in the dining room. The table was long and filled with food: jollof rice, fried plantain, grilled chicken, pounded yam with agouti soup. Everything was prepared perfectly. But Isaac barely touched his plate. He just stared at it, moving his fork around without eating. Mrs. Sophia watched him for a long time, then she put down her spoon. "Isaac," she said softly. He didn't look up. "Isaac," she said again, this time firmer. He raised his eyes slowly. "Yes, Mama." She folded her hands on the table. Her voice was calm but heavy. "When will you bring a woman home?" Isaac sighed. He placed his fork down and leaned back in his chair. He had heard this question 1,000 times, every week, every month. It never stopped. "Mama, please, not today." "Then when?" she asked. Her voice cracked a little. "You are 38 years old. All your friends are married. They have children. I want to see my grandchildren before I die." Isaac stood up. He pushed his chair back slowly. The sound echoed in the quiet room. "Mama, I've told you before, I'm not interested." "Why?" she asked, her eyes filling with tears. "What happened to you? You used to be different. You used to smile. You used to laugh. Now you walk around this house like you're already dead." Isaac clenched his jaw. He looked away. "Mama, I don't want to talk about this." "But I want to talk about it," she said, her voice rising. "I'm your mother. I carried you in my womb. I raised you, and now I watch you suffer every day, and you won't even tell me why." Isaac's hands trembled. He wanted to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. He just stood there, silent, broken. Mrs. Sophia wiped her eyes. "Isaac, whatever happened, you can tell me. I won't judge you." But Isaac shook his head. "There's nothing to tell, Mama. I'm just not interested in marriage." "That's a lie," she said quietly, "and we both know it." Isaac didn't respond. He just walked out of the room, leaving his mother sitting there alone, staring at the empty chair across from her. She sat there for a long time. The food got cold. The house was silent. She knew something was wrong. She had known for years, but her son would never tell her, and that broke her heart even more. Isaac walked to his bedroom and closed the door. He sat on the edge of his bed and buried his face in his hands. His chest felt tight. His breathing was heavy. He wanted to scream, but he couldn't. He had learned how to suffer in silence. He stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city lights. Lagos was alive, cars moving, people laughing. Music playing somewhere in the distance, but inside this house, inside his heart, everything was dead. Isaac had not always been this way. Years ago, he was different. He smiled more. He laughed. He even believed in love. He believed in connection. He believed that one day he would find a woman who would love him, and they would build a life together. But then came the women. So many women. They came because of his money, his name, his status. They wore beautiful dresses, expensive perfume, and fake smiles. They called him baby and darling and my king. But Isaac knew better. He knew they didn't love him. They loved what he could give them. At first, Isaac enjoyed the attention. He liked being wanted. He liked the chase. He would take them to expensive restaurants, buy them jewelry, take them on trips. And for a while, it felt good. But every time things became intimate, something went wrong. He couldn't perform. No matter how hard he tried, no matter how much he wanted to, his body refused to cooperate. It was like a switch had been turned off inside him. He felt nothing, no desire, no passion, just shame. The women would leave, some quietly, some with cruel words. "You're not a real man," one of them said as she dressed and walked out of his bedroom. Another one laughed. She actually laughed. "All that money and you can't even satisfy a woman. What's the point?" One woman even took a video of him lying in bed, broken and ashamed, and threatened to post it online unless he paid her. He paid, he always paid, because the alternative was worse. The rumors spread. Soon it became a joke. Headlines in blogs, whispers at parties, people he didn't even know were talking about him, laughing about him, judging him. "Did you hear about Isaac?" "Yes, I heard he can't perform. Such a waste. All that money and he's useless in bed." Isaac's reputation was ruined. Women avoided him. Those who stayed did so for money, not for him. They would smile in public, hold his hand at events, kiss him on the cheek. But behind closed doors, they were disgusted by him. He could see it in their eyes. Isaac tried everything. He went to doctors, therapists, specialists. They ran tests. They gave him pills. They told him it was psychological, not physical, but nothing worked. And with every failure, Isaac sank deeper into despair. Then came Kioma. She was beautiful, tall, light-skinned. She had long hair and a smile that could light up a room. She came into his life at a business event. She walked up to him with confidence and introduced herself. "I've heard a lot about you," she said. Isaac's guard went up immediately. "I'm sure you have," she smiled. "I don't believe everything I hear." That surprised him. "You don't?" She shook her head. "No, I believe in giving people a chance." They talked for hours that night. She was smart, educated. She had her own business. She didn't seem like the other women. She didn't ask for money. She didn't throw herself at him. She just talked to him like a normal person. They started dating. For the first time in years, Isaac felt hope. Kioma told him she didn't care about the rumors. She said she loved him for who he was, not for what people said about him. She said they would work through it together. Isaac believed her. He let his guard down, he opened his heart, and after 6 months he asked her to marry him. She said yes. They had a big wedding. His mother cried tears of joy. Everyone said they were a perfect couple. For a few months, Isaac was happy. He thought he had finally found someone who loved him, someone who accepted him. But one night, he came home early from a business trip. The house was quiet. Too quiet. His driver had dropped him off, and he walked in through the front door. He called out, "Kioma!" No answer. He walked upstairs. He could hear voices, laughter, a man's voice. His heart began to race. He walked faster. He reached the bedroom door and pushed it open. Kioma was in bed with another man. Isaac stood there, frozen. His hands shook. His chest felt tight. He couldn't breathe. The world around him seemed to stop. Kioma's eyes went wide. She jumped up, wrapping the bedsheet around her body. "Isaac, I can explain." "Get out," he said quietly. She didn't move. The man in the bed started putting on his clothes, avoiding Isaac's eyes. "Get out," Isaac shouted. His voice echoed through the house. Kioma grabbed her things and ran. The man followed her, stumbling as he put on his shoes. Isaac stood alone in that room, staring at the bed he had shared with her, the bed where he had tried so hard to make things work. He walked over slowly. He stood there for a long time, just staring. Then he sat down on the edge of the bed and buried his face in his hands. He didn't cry. He had no tears left. He just sat there, empty. That night, something inside him broke. Not just his heart, his spirit, his hope, everything. He filed for divorce the next morning. He never spoke to Kioma again. She tried to call. She sent messages. She begged for another chance. But Isaac blocked her number. He wanted nothing to do with her. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Mrs. Sophia cried. She had loved Kioma like a daughter. But when she found out what happened, she never spoke her name again. And Isaac. He swore he would never marry again. He built walls around his heart. Thick walls. Walls made of pain and betrayal. Walls no one could break. That was 3 years ago. Since then, Isaac had lived like a shadow. He went to work, he came home, he ate, he slept, but he didn't live. He just existed. His mother watched him fade away. She prayed every night. She begged God to send someone who could heal her son's heart. But as the years passed, she began to lose hope. Until the day Isaac's car broke down. It was a hot afternoon, the kind of heat that made your skin burn and your throat dry. Isaac was driving back from a business meeting in a neighboring town. The meeting had gone well. He had signed a contract worth millions. But as usual, he felt nothing. No joy, no satisfaction, just emptiness. He was on a narrow road, surrounded by bushes and small villages. Suddenly, his car began to shake. The engine made a strange noise. Then it stopped. Isaac tried to restart it. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. He hit the steering wheel in frustration. "Not today," he muttered. He stepped out of the car and looked around. The sun was burning. Sweat dripped down his face. He loosened his tie and looked down the road. A few houses made of old wood and zinc. Dust everywhere. People walked by slowly, staring at his expensive car, but no one stopped to help. Isaac opened the hood of the car and stared at the engine. He had no idea what he was looking at. He wasn't a mechanic. He pulled out his phone to call his driver, but there was no signal. He cursed under his breath. He leaned against the car and wiped his forehead. His throat was dry. He felt dizzy from the heat. Then he saw her. A young woman walked toward him with a small clay pot in her hands. She wore a simple dress, red with white flowers. Her hair was in long braids. Her feet were bare, but she walked with confidence. She didn't look rich, but she carried herself like a queen. She stopped in front of him. Her eyes were calm. "You look thirsty," she said. Isaac blinked. He wasn't used to kindness from strangers, especially not in a place like this. She poured water into a small cup and handed it to him. "Drink." He hesitated for a moment, then he took the cup and drank. The water was cool and sweet. It felt like life returning to his body. He drank it all, then handed the cup back to her. "Thank you," he said. She nodded. "Your car is broken?" "Yes." She looked at the car, then back at him. "There's a mechanic in the next village. I can call him for you if you want." Isaac looked at her, really looked at her. Her face was young, maybe 25. Her skin was smooth and dark. Her eyes were clear. She wasn't staring at his clothes or his car or his watch. She was just looking at him like he was a normal person. "Please," he said. "I would appreciate that." She pulled out an old phone from her pocket. The screen was cracked, but it worked. She made the call, spoke quickly in Yoruba, then hung up. "He's coming," she said. "It will take about 20 minutes." Isaac nodded. "Thank you." She stood beside him, waiting. She didn't ask who he was. She didn't ask for money. She didn't try to make conversation. She just stood there quietly, holding her pot of water. Isaac glanced at her. "What's your name?" "Deborah," she said. "Deborah," he repeated slowly. The name felt right, like it belonged to her. She looked at him. "And you?" "Isaac." She nodded. "Okay, Isaac." They stood in silence. The sun was still burning, but somehow it didn't feel as bad anymore. Isaac felt something strange, a warmth. Not from the sun, from inside, a pull. A connection, something he couldn't explain. When the mechanic arrived, he was an old man with rough hands and a kind smile. He opened the hood, looked around, tightened something, and within 10 minutes, the car started again. Isaac paid him. Then he turned to Deborah. "Thank you. Really, you didn't have to help me." Deborah smiled a little. "We're supposed to help each other. That's what people do." Isaac felt something break inside him. A small crack in the wall. Can I give you something? Money? Anything?" Deborah shook her head. "No, I didn't help you for money." "Then why did you help me?" She looked at him with those calm eyes. "Because you needed help." Isaac didn't know what to say. He just stood there, staring at her. Deborah gave him one last smile, then turned and walked away, her bare feet making soft sounds on the dusty road. Isaac watched her until she disappeared. He got back in his car and drove away. But as he drove, he kept seeing her face, the way she smiled, the way she spoke, the way she looked at him without wanting anything. That night, Isaac couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He kept thinking about her. Deborah. Her name echoed in his mind. He tried to push it away, but it kept coming back. By the time the sun came up, he had made a decision. He had to see her again. Isaac drove back to the village the next morning. He didn't tell his mother. He didn't tell his driver. He just went alone. He parked near the main road and asked an old man sitting under a tree, "Do you know a girl named Deborah?" The old man looked at him. His eyes were sharp. "Deborah?" "Yes. She lives with her parents in the old compound near the river." "Can you show me?" The old man pointed down a narrow path. "Follow that road. You will see it." Isaac thanked him and walked. The path was rough, stones and dirt. He was wearing expensive shoes, Italian leather, but he didn't care. He kept walking. After a few minutes, he saw the compound. It was small, the walls were cracked and covered in moss. The roof had holes patched with old tarpaulin. The gate was made of rusted metal, but the yard was clean, swept. A few plants growing in old paint cans. Isaac stood there for a moment. He looked at the house, then he looked at his clothes, his watch, his shoes. He suddenly felt out of place. But he had come this far, he couldn't turn back now. He knocked on the gate. A woman opened it. She was older, thin, with tired eyes and grey hair. She wore a faded wrapper and a loose blouse. She looked at Isaac suspiciously. "Yes," she said. "Good afternoon, Ma. I'm looking for Deborah." The woman studied him. Her eyes moved from his shoes to his watch to his face. "Who are you?" "My name is Isaac. Deborah helped me yesterday when my car broke down." The woman's face softened a little. "Oh, wait here." She closed the gate and went inside. Isaac stood there, waiting. He could hear voices inside, low voices, a man's voice, then Deborah's voice. A few moments later, the gate opened again. Deborah came out. She looked surprised. "You came back," she said. "Yes." She folded her arms. Why? Isaac didn't know what to say. He had practiced in the car, he had prepared speeches, but now standing in front of her, all the words disappeared. He just looked at her. I wanted to see you again," he said finally. Deborah tilted her head. "For what?" "I don't know," he said honestly. She smiled a little. "You're strange." "Maybe." She walked closer. She stood in front of him, arms still folded. "What do you want, Isaac?" Isaac took a breath. "I want to know you." Deborah laughed softly. "You don't even know me. You just saw me once." "I know, but I felt something I haven't felt in a long time." Deborah's smile faded. She looked at him seriously. Her voice became firm. "I'm not interested in rich men who think they can buy anyone." "I'm not trying to buy you," Isaac said quickly. "Then what are you trying to do?" Isaac paused. He chose his words carefully. "I'm asking you to give me a chance. To know you, to talk to you, that's all." Deborah shook her head. "I don't know you, and I don't trust people like you." "People like me?" "Rich. Powerful. You think the world revolves around you. You think you can snap your fingers and get whatever you want." Isaac felt a sting in his chest, but he didn't argue, because she was right. That was how he had lived most of his life. "You're right," he said quietly. "I've lived like that, but I don't want to anymore." Deborah studied his face. She saw something in his eyes, pain, loneliness, something real. "What do you want from me?" she asked quietly. "I want to be your friend. Maybe more, but only if you want." Deborah looked down. "I'm poor. Look at where I live. Look at my clothes. I have nothing to offer you. I'm not asking you to offer me anything." She looked up at him again. "Then why are you here?" "Why me? There are so many beautiful women in Lagos, rich women, educated women, women who can match your status. Why are you standing here in a poor village talking to me?" Isaac took a step closer. "Because when I saw you, I felt alive again. For the first time in years, I felt something, and I don't want to lose that." Deborah's heart skipped, but she didn't show it. She kept her face calm. "I don't fall for sweet words, Isaac. I'm not trying to make you fall. I'm just trying to be honest." Deborah thought for a moment. She looked back at the house. She thought about her parents. Her father was sick. They had no money, no food some days. She thought about her life, how hard it was, how unfair it was. She turned back to Isaac. "I need a job." Isaac blinked. "What?" "I need a job. My father is sick. We have no money. If you want to help me with that. Not with love or romance or whatever this is." Isaac nodded slowly. "What did you study?" "Event planning and management. I went to a polytechnic in Ibadan. I finished 4 years ago, but I haven't been able to find work." "Are you good at it?" Deborah's eyes flashed. "Very good," Isaac smiled. "Then I'll give you a job. You'll work with my company. You'll plan events. But there's one condition." Deborah raised an eyebrow. "What?" "You do the job well. I'm not giving you charity. I'm giving you a chance to prove yourself. If you fail, you're out. If you succeed, you'll be paid well." Deborah looked at him. She studied his face. She was trying to see if he was serious or if this was just another game. But his eyes were clear, honest. "Fine," she said, "but don't think you've bought me. I'm accepting this job because I need money, not because I like you, not because I'm impressed by you, just because I need to survive." Isaac's smile grew. "I wouldn't dare think otherwise." Deborah nodded. "Good. When do I start?" "Monday. I'll send a car to pick you up." Deborah shook her head. "No, I'll find my own way. Just send me the address." Isaac wanted to argue, but he could see she was serious. "Okay, give me your number." Deborah pulled out her old, cracked phone. They exchanged numbers. Isaac saved her contact and looked at it for a moment. Deborah, just her name, nothing else. "I'll send you the details tonight," he said. "Okay." They stood there for a moment. Neither of them moved. Then Deborah turned and walked back into the compound. Isaac stood there, watching the gate close. He felt something warm spreading through his chest. Hope. He hadn't felt that in years. He walked back to his car with a smile on his face. Deborah started working the next Monday. She woke up early. She wore the best dress she had. It was simple, but clean and ironed. She borrowed shoes from a neighbor. She tied her hair neatly. She looked at herself in the small, cracked mirror in her room. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. Her mother came to the door. "Deborah, are you sure about this?" Deborah turned. "Yes, Mama." "That man, he's very rich. Be careful." "I will, Mama." Her mother hugged her. "Make us proud." Deborah took 2 buses to get to Isaac's company. It was a tall building in Victoria Island, glass and steel, security guards at the entrance, people in expensive suits walking in and out. Deborah felt small, but she lifted her head and walked in with confidence. The receptionist looked at her. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Mr. Isaac Sophia. My name is Deborah." The receptionist checked her computer. "Oh yes, he's expecting you. Take the elevator to the 12th floor." Deborah nodded and walked to the elevator. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't let it show. When she reached the 12th floor, a woman was waiting for her. She was dressed in a sharp suit and had a professional smile. "Deborah?" "Yes." "I'm Patricia. I'll be showing you around. Welcome to Sophia Enterprises." Patricia took her on a tour. She showed her the offices, the meeting rooms, the event planning department. Everyone they passed stared at Deborah. Some whispered. Deborah could feel their eyes on her, but she kept her head high. Finally, Patricia took her to Isaac's office. She knocked on the door. "Come in," Isaac's voice said from inside. Patricia opened the door. Isaac was sitting behind a large desk. He looked up and saw Deborah. He stood immediately. "Deborah, welcome." Patricia left and closed the door. Deborah stood there, looking around. The office was huge, floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive furniture, paintings on the walls. "Sit," Isaac said, gesturing to a chair. Deborah sat down, hands folded in her lap. Isaac sat across from her. "How are you feeling?" "Nervous," she said honestly. He smiled. "That's normal. But you don't need to be. You're qualified. You'll do great." Deborah nodded. Isaac leaned forward. "I want to make something clear. When we're here, I'm your boss. Not your friend. Not anything else. Just your boss. You'll be judged by your work, not by how I feel about you. Understand?" "Yes." "Good. Patricia will assign you to a team. You'll start with small projects, meetings, corporate events, things like that. If you do well, you'll move up. If you don't, you'll be let go. No special treatment. Deborah looked him in the eyes. I don't want special treatment. I just want a fair chance. Isaac smiled. You have it. Deborah worked hard. She came to the office every day. She wore simple clothes, but she carried herself with dignity. People noticed, some whispered, some stared. But Deborah didn't care. She organized meetings, planned events, managed schedules. She was smart, sharp, confident. She didn't let her poverty define her. She didn't let people's whispers affect her. She just worked. Her first project was a small corporate meeting. 50 people, simple setup, but Deborah treated it like it was the most important event in the world. She checked every detail. The chairs, the tables, the lighting, the sound system, the catering, everything. On the day of the event, everything went perfectly. The client was impressed. Isaac received an email praising the organization. He called Deborah to his office. You did well, he said. Deborah smiled. Thank you. The client wants to work with us again. They asked for you specifically. Deborah's eyes widened. Really? Isaac nodded. Really? Keep this up, and you'll go far. Over the next few weeks, Deborah handled more projects, each one bigger than the last. She worked late nights. She came in early mornings. She didn't complain. She just worked. People in the office began to respect her. They stopped whispering. They started asking for her advice. Even Patricia, who had been cold at first, began to warm up to her. You're good at this, Patricia said one day. Deborah smiled. Thank you. Where did you learn? Polytechnic and life. Patricia laughed. Life is the best teacher. Isaac watched Deborah from his office. He saw how she handled difficult clients, how she spoke with authority, how she never let her background hold her back. He was impressed, but more than that, he was drawn to her. One evening, everyone had gone home. Deborah was still in the office, working on a presentation. Isaac walked by and saw her. He knocked on the open door. You're still here? Deborah looked up. Yes, I want to finish this. Isaac walked in. It's past 8 p.m. I know. He sat down. You don't have to work this hard, Deborah. She looked at him. Yes, I do. Why? Because I have something to prove. To you, to everyone here, to myself. Isaac was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You've already proven it. Deborah put down her pen. What do you mean? You're the best person in that department. Everyone knows it. Deborah smiled a little. Thank you. Isaac stood up. Come on, let me drive you home. Deborah hesitated. It's okay. I can take the bus. It's late. It's not safe. Deborah looked at him, then she nodded. Okay. They walked to the parking lot together. Isaac opened the car door for her. She climbed in. As they drove through the city, they talked. Not about work, just about life. Deborah told him about her parents, her father's sickness, her mother's strength, her dreams. Isaac listened. He didn't interrupt. He just listened, and for the first time in years, he felt connected to someone. When they reached her compound, Deborah turned to him. Thank you. For the job, for everything. Isaac looked at her. You earned it, Deborah. All of it. She smiled and stepped out of the car. Isaac watched her walk through the gate. He sat there for a long time, just thinking. Then he drove home. Mrs. Sophia noticed the change in her son. He smiled more, he talked more, he seemed lighter. One evening she asked him, Isaac, what's going on? What do you mean? You're different. Happier. Isaac smiled. Maybe I am. Is it a woman? Isaac didn't answer immediately. Then he said, yes. Mrs. Sophia's eyes lit up. Who is she? Her name is Deborah. She works for me. When can I meet her? Isaac laughed. Mama, slow down, it's not like that. Then what is it like? Isaac thought for a moment. I don't know yet, but I feel something. Something good. Mrs. Sophia smiled. Good. It's about time. 1 month later, Isaac called Deborah into his office. I'm planning a big event, he said. A charity gala, 500 guests, politicians, businessmen, celebrities. It's one of the biggest events of the year. Deborah's eyes widened. That's huge. I know. And I want you to organize it. Deborah sat back. Isaac, that's a big responsibility. I know. Can you handle it? She looked at him. Yes. Good. You'll have full control. Budget, guests, venue, entertainment, everything. But if anything goes wrong, it's on you. Deborah nodded. I understand. You have 2 months. Deborah stood up. I won't let you down. She didn't. Deborah worked harder than she had ever worked before. She called venues. She negotiated with vendors. She designed the layout. She coordinated with security. She managed the guest list. She did everything. There were challenges. One vendor tried to overcharge her. She negotiated him down. One guest refused to confirm. She called him personally and convinced him to come. The sound system had issues. She found a backup in 24 hours. Isaac watched from a distance. He wanted to help, but he didn't. This was her project, her moment. The night of the gala arrived. The venue was beautiful. A 5-star hotel ballroom, chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, red carpets, gold decorations, live band playing soft music, waiters in black suits serving champagne. Guests began to arrive, important people Isaac had known for years. They looked around, impressed. Isaac, this is beautiful, one of them said. Thank you, but I can't take credit. Deborah organized everything. Deborah? Who's Deborah? She works for me. She's the event planner. The man looked around. She's talented, Isaac smiled. Yes, she is. Mrs. Sophia was there too. She walked through the crowd with elegance, but her eyes were searching. Finally, she saw Deborah. She was moving through the crowd, checking on things, making sure everything was perfect. She looked confident. Strong. Mrs. Sophia walked up to Isaac. Is that her? Isaac turned. He saw Deborah talking to a waiter, giving instructions. Yes. Mrs. Sophia studied her. She's beautiful. Yes. She's also confident. Yes. Mrs. Sophia looked at her son. You like her? Isaac didn't deny it. Yes, Mama, I do. Does she like you? I don't know. Mrs. Sophia smiled. Then you should find out. The event was a success. Everything went perfectly. The speeches were moving. The food was excellent. The entertainment was top-notch. By the end of the night, people were congratulating Isaac. Best gala you've ever hosted, one man said. Thank you, Isaac replied, but he wasn't thinking about the gala. He was thinking about Deborah. After everyone left, Isaac found Deborah in the back room. She was sitting on a chair, taking off her shoes. She looked exhausted but happy. You did it, Isaac said. Deborah looked up and smiled. We did it. No, you did it. Deborah stood up. Thank you for trusting me. Isaac walked closer. Deborah, can I ask you something? Yes. Why do you work so hard? Deborah looked at him. Because I have to. Because I don't have the luxury of failing. People like you can fail and still be fine. People like me, we fail once and it's over. Isaac's heart hurt. I'm sorry. For what? For having it easy. For not understanding. Deborah shook her head. Don't apologize for who you are. Just appreciate what you have. Isaac looked at her, really looked at her, and in that moment he realized something. He was falling in love with her. Deborah, he said softly. Yes? I think I'm falling for you. Deborah's eyes widened. She didn't speak. I know you don't want to hear this, Isaac continued. I know you said you're not interested. But I can't keep it inside anymore. Every day I see you, I feel something. Every time you smile, my heart skips. Every time you speak, I want to listen forever. Deborah took a step back. Isaac, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. Deborah looked down. Isaac, I'm not like the women you're used to. I know. I'm poor. I come from nothing. I don't fit into your world. I don't care about any of that. But your mother will. Your friends will. Everyone will. Isaac took her hands. Deborah, I've spent my whole life caring about what people think, and it made me miserable. I don't want to live like that anymore. Deborah looked at him. Her eyes were wet. Isaac, I'm scared. Of what? Of getting hurt, of this not being real. Isaac pulled her closer. It's real, Deborah. I promise you it's real. Deborah didn't pull away. She just stood there, looking at him. Then slowly she nodded. Okay. Okay? Okay. Let's try. Isaac smiled. He pulled her into a hug. She hugged him back, and for the first time in years, Isaac felt whole. They started seeing each other outside of work. Isaac would pick her up after office hours. They would go to quiet restaurants, places where they could talk without being seen. Not because Isaac was ashamed, but because Deborah wasn't ready for the attention. People will talk, she said one evening as they sat in a small restaurant near the island. Let them, Isaac replied. It's easy for you to say. You're used to it. I'm not. Isaac reached across the table and held her hand. Deborah, I know this is hard, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm with you, for as long as you'll have me. Deborah looked at their hands. His was large and warm, hers was small and trembling. I'm scared, Isaac. I know, but I'm scared too. She looked up. You? Scared of what? Isaac took a deep breath. Of losing you. Of not being enough. Deborah frowned. What do you mean? Isaac pulled his hand back. He looked down at the table. Deborah, there's something I need to tell you. Deborah's heart began to race. What is it? Isaac was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. His voice was low, broken. I have a problem. A problem that has ruined every relationship I've ever had. What problem? Isaac looked at her. His eyes were filled with shame. I can't perform intimately. I've tried. I've been to doctors, therapists, nothing works, and every woman I've been with has left me because of it. Deborah didn't speak. She just listened. Isaac continued. I was married once. Her name was Kioma. She told me she loved me. She told me she didn't care, but I found her in bed with another man. She said she needed someone who could satisfy her. Deborah's eyes filled with tears. Isaac, the rumors spread. Everyone knows. That's why women avoid me. That's why I've been alone for 3 years. He wiped his face with his hand. I'm telling you this because I don't want to lie to you. I don't want you to think I'm normal, because I'm not. Deborah stood up. Isaac thought she was leaving. He closed his eyes. He couldn't watch her walk away, but instead she walked around the table and sat next to him. She took his face in her hands. Look at me, she said. He opened his eyes. You are not broken, she said firmly. You hear me? You are not broken. Deborah, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. You think your worth is measured by what happens in a bedroom. But it's not. Your worth is measured by who you are, how you treat people, how you make them feel. Isaac's tears fell. But what if I can't give you what you need? Deborah smiled. What I need is someone who sees me, someone who respects me, someone who makes me feel safe. And you do all of that. But what about… Shh, she whispered. She leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft, gentle. When she pulled back, she said, We'll figure it out. Together, Isaac held her. He buried his face in her shoulder and cried. All the pain he had carried for years came out, and Deborah held him through it all. Weeks passed. Isaac and Deborah grew closer. They talked about everything, their fears, their dreams, their pasts. Deborah told him about growing up in the orphanage system after her parents struggled. Isaac told her about the pressure of being rich, how lonely it was at the top. One evening, Isaac took Deborah to meet his mother properly. Mrs. Sophia had prepared a big dinner. Jollof rice, fried rice, chicken, fish, salad, everything. She wanted to impress Deborah. When they arrived, Mrs. Sophia opened the door with a big smile. Welcome, my dear. Deborah smiled nervously. Thank you, Ma. They sat in the living room. Mrs. Sophia studied Deborah, her clothes, her posture, her eyes. She was trying to see what her son saw in this girl. So, Deborah, Mrs. Sophia began, Isaac tells me you're an event planner. Yes, Ma. And you organized the charity gala. Yes, Ma. Mrs. Sophia nodded. It was beautiful. Everyone is still talking about it. Thank you, Ma. There was a pause. Then Mrs. Sophia asked, "Where are you from?" Deborah hesitated. "I'm from a small village outside Ibadan, Ma." "And your parents?" "They're still there. My father is sick. My mother takes care of him." Mrs. Sophia's face softened. "I'm sorry to hear that." "Thank you, Ma." Another pause. Then Mrs. Sophia said, "Deborah, I'm going to be honest with you. When Isaac told me about you, I was worried." Deborah's heart sank. Mrs. Sophia continued, "I was worried because my son has been hurt before. Badly, and I didn't want to see him hurt again." "I understand, Ma. But," Mrs. Sophia said, her voice softening, "I've watched him over the past few months. And I've seen something I haven't seen in years. I've seen him smile. I've seen him laugh. I've seen him live again. And that's because of you." Deborah's eyes filled with tears. Mrs. Sophia reached over and took Deborah's hand. "I don't care where you come from. I don't care about your background. All I care about is that you make my son happy. And you do, so you have my blessing." Deborah couldn't hold it in. She cried. Mrs. Sophia stood up and hugged her. Isaac watched from the doorway, his own eyes wet. That night, after dinner, Isaac drove Deborah home. As they sat in the car outside her compound, Deborah turned to him. "Your mother is wonderful," she said. "She likes you. I like her too." Isaac took her hand. "Deborah, I know we've only been together for a few months, but I need you to know something. You've changed my life. Before you, I was just existing. Now I'm living." Deborah smiled. "You've changed my life too, Isaac. You gave me a chance when no one else would. You saw me when I was invisible." Isaac leaned closer. "Deborah, I love you." Deborah's breath caught. "Isaac, I love you, and I want to be with you, not just for now, but forever." Deborah looked at him. Then she said, "I love you too." They kissed. It was deep, passionate. When they pulled apart, Deborah said, "Come inside." Isaac looked at her. "Are you sure?" "Yes." "My sweet family, before we move forward with the story, tell us, where are you watching from?" "Lagos, Abuja, Accra, Nairobi, Cape Town, London, Paris, Toronto, New York, Karachi, Dubai, Mumbai." Drop your location in the comments so we can see how far love and respect can travel across this world. They walked into the compound together. Deborah led him to her small room. It was simple, a bed, a chair, a small table, but it was clean. Isaac looked around. This was where she lived, where she slept, where she dreamed. Deborah locked the door. She turned to him. "Isaac, I need you to know something. I don't have experience. I've never been with anyone." Isaac's eyes widened. "Deborah, we don't have to." "I want to," she said. "I want to be with you, but I need you to be patient with me." Isaac walked to her. He held her face. "Deborah, we'll go as slow as you need. And if you change your mind, we stop. Okay?" She nodded. They moved to the bed. Isaac was gentle, patient. He kissed her slowly. He touched her carefully. He kept asking, "Is this okay?" Deborah nodded. Yes. As things progressed, Isaac felt the familiar fear rising. What if it didn't work? What if he failed again? What if she left like everyone else? But Deborah sensed his fear. She pulled him close and whispered, "It's okay. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." And something happened. Something Isaac had never experienced before. His body responded. For the first time in his life, everything worked. He looked at Deborah with shock. She smiled. "See," she whispered, "you're not broken." When it was over, Isaac lay there with tears streaming down his face. Deborah held him close, running her fingers through his hair. "I thought I was incomplete," he said, his voice shaking. "You were never incomplete. You just needed the right person." Isaac held her tighter. "I love you so much. I love you too." They lay there for hours, just holding each other. Isaac felt whole for the first time in his life. And Deborah felt loved, truly loved, not for what she could give, but for who she was. The next morning, Isaac woke up and looked at Deborah sleeping beside him. He couldn't believe it. Everything he had thought was wrong about him was gone. Just like that. With the right person. He got up quietly and called his mother. "Mama, I want to marry her." Mrs. Sophia was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Mrs. Sophia smiled on the other end. "Then marry her. You have my blessing." They got married 6 months later. It was a beautiful wedding. Not too big, just family and close friends. Deborah's parents were there. Her father had gotten better. He cried as he walked his daughter down the aisle. Mrs. Sophia sat in the front row, beaming with pride. Isaac kissed her forehead. "A year ago, I was broken, alone, lost. And now I'm sitting here with the woman I love, the woman who healed me." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Deborah said, "Isaac, can I tell you something?" "Anything." "You were never broken. You just hadn't found the right person. Those women didn't leave because there was something wrong with you. They left because they were wrong for you." Isaac nodded. "I know that now." "Good, because I never want you to think you're less than whole. You're perfect, just as you are." Isaac held her hand. "So are you." Deborah continued working at the company. She became the head of the event planning department. She hired a team. She trained them. She built something she was proud of, and Isaac supported her every step of the way. 1 year later, Deborah got pregnant. Isaac cried when she told him. He had always wanted children, but he had given up on the idea years ago. Now it was happening, with the woman he loved. Mrs. Sophia was overjoyed. She cried and thanked God. "I told you," she said to Isaac. "I told you the right woman would come." "You were right, Mama." Deborah gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Samuel. He had Deborah's eyes and Isaac's smile. Isaac held him for the first time and wept. "Thank you," he whispered to Deborah. "Thank you for giving me everything." Deborah smiled. "You gave me everything first." Isaac realized something in that moment. He had spent years thinking he was broken, thinking he was incomplete, thinking he would never find love. But he wasn't broken. He was just waiting for the right person. The person who would see past his wealth, past his reputation, past his fear. The person who would love him for who he truly was. And that person was Deborah. So if you're struggling, if you feel broken, if you think you're not enough, remember this story. You're not broken. You're just waiting for the right person, the person who will see you, the person who will love you, not for what you have, not for what you can give them, but for who you are. Don't settle, don't rush, wait, because the right person is worth waiting for, and when you find them, everything will make sense, everything will fall into place, just like it did for Isaac and Deborah. Now tell me, what did you learn from this story? Was there a moment that touched your heart? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. A brand new story is coming in just a few days. It's deep, emotional, and full of unexpected moments. So please subscribe to my channel, Roots of the African Tales, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. See you in the next one.